Swinton, in the north of England and now part of the city of Salford, is an ancient town, a proud town. But perhaps it's too easy to drive through. But if you took the time, however, to stop and to listen and to observe, you might hear stories we could all relate to, because Swinton is all of us, and often even the best of us.
The valley is just a stunning gem in the middle of Swinton that you don't even know is there unless you know it's there. I got involved with the valley when I first got the job as a community development worker, and I met Anne and Grace for the first time, and I just thought what beautiful people they were.
Oh. Yeah. Nice and warm.
For somebody like me coming into a new area where I haven't worked before, they're the key people that I need to find. They're the ones that, if I need to get in and make a connection with a group or a family that live on that estate, they're the people that I need to take me. Because if they're all right with Anne and Grace, then they're all right with me.
The Valley Estate at one time was called Beirut Without the Sun. The taxi drivers that sold out said this valley was Beirut without the sun.
I've lived on this estate 32 years, and I'm quite happy on the valley. I've always been happy on the valley. I've been very fortunate. And with me working at the community centre, I got to know all of the people on the estate. 11 years ago, we were told about the garden, the green space we had outside. And then all of a sudden these plots were going up, and I really couldn't see it. My husband could see it all right. And we just went from strength to strength with the funding that we got. If I can just give you an extra thing of how we met Grace. I said, Grace turned up, my husband and I were in the community garden. We only had it about 12 months, 18 months then, and Grace come up and asked us what we were doing and what was going on. We told her within 5 minutes of speaking to Grace. I didn't let her go. I knew that she was going to be the backbone of the community garden, and I've got a true friend in her as well.
I'm originally from Zimbabwe. So I've been in England for quite a long time. Since 2000, that's a long time. When I first arrived, I lived in London. Oh, it was terrible. It was really, really terrible. One can easily get depressed. You can't be confined in one room all of a sudden, because that's all we had, one room. What brought me to Swinton was change of location for my children. I wanted somewhere quieter.
Quite a few years ago, if you mentioned the valley, I wouldn't live down there, I wouldn't live down there. Some people are too quick to judge the valley, but having said that, years and years ago, every fourth or fifth house was getting broken into. To be fair to people, and the people that didn't want to come on the valley. And a lot of us worked, and some of the people are not able to work for various reasons. And you didn't know whose house was going to get robbed next, and windows broken and stuff like that. But If you're out shouting at some of these lads and girls that was causing the problem and they were told to F off and this and that and the other, if you speak to them in a proper manner, you get more back. And that's why I could see that was going wrong them days. They just didn't, I wouldn't say give them a chance. They know exactly what they're doing when they're breaking somebody's windows and stuff like that. But me personally, they had to be given a chance. Why would I judge a 10-year-old because the neighbours didn't like her? Can't tell you what this estate has meant to me, because when I lost my son and I lost my husband, I can't tell you how they stood behind my family.
I've lived in this estate since 2011. So the footpath from my house to the school passes through here. So I was passing through here almost every Monday to Friday. And then I saw the notice at the gate, the Valley Community Garden. I became interested because gardening is my thing. So I didn't care who was there. You know, some people might think, oh, well, I may not be welcome or what, but you know, the passion for gardening just drove me to just knock at the gate, and because it was locked, so all I wanted was to get my hands dirty and do something. So I used to come every Thursday, work with others and share ideas, and before long I had my own little plot. So yeah, it didn't matter who I looked like and all that, because I met different people also when we went to some meeting.
We've got all nationalities that come into the garden. Grace and I are the same on this one. I don't care who or what you are, your background or anything. They come into the garden and they're made as welcome as anybody, and that's how the garden runs properly.
I've met people from all over, from India, Pakistan, Kurdistan, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Syria. There's a group of Kurdish women. One of them is from Syria, and the other one is from Pakistan. So they are neighbors where they come from, and they speak the same language. What we want is people to unite and do one common thing, that is live together in harmony, to develop their own communities, make it safe, enjoy the life while they are still here. That's what is more important to us than dividing them.
The food that we grow, even the tomatoes and the carrots and onions, are absolutely far better than, even if I say so myself, far better than the shops.
What happens to the food that we grow is we feed it, we give it away to the community.
No, I do not think myself as political. No way on this earth am I. No, I'm not political. I can't be political. I'm too outgoing. I don't know.
You are a human being worth living on this earth, and you have got a right to express yourself the way you are, because that's what everyone here does. They just live their life the way they would live it where they came from.
And if you just think about the valley, the sort of the social impact that that's having there, the activities and the resources the general public can access there, you can't get that if you go into a GP surgery. You can't get that if, you go into a GP surgery, they'll treat you with medication. It's not always what people need or want, but the Valley will offer a much more holistic approach. There you feel really calm, you feel really like the noise goes away.
We just be lost without each other. That garden wouldn't be, when I lost my husband, that garden wouldn't be there now, because Grace kept it going until I felt well enough to come back into the garden. not been over for about 4 months. And for some reason, I got up, come over, and before I knew it, I'd put in 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours in the garden. And I realised then that's what I needed. It was the therapy of just getting out of the house and coming over.
When it's that time, harvesting time, I know I feel like, well, it's like a little extension. I'm eating all the food that I would have eaten if I was in Zimbabwe. Yeah, that's it for me today. Home soon. Go home now.
Having infill? You're having infill? Yeah.
Well, I think if Jude Law knocked off my job, it'd happen quick.
Oh, Jude Law's like, you know.
Most good looking.
Yeah, he's like a good looking boy. And Chris is like, what?
He's lost all his hair now, hasn't he?
Oh, Jason Stalen's mine.
It's been a family business. It's been passed down for about 15 years. We started about 5 years at the front of the precinct, and then we moved inside the precinct, so it's been about 10 years now.
My mum had a nail salon, so I grew up around nails too. Yeah, and my sister and my mum trained me when I was like 15 as a backup.
Do you know what it is? When you work with family, you are tied to it. So it's like you don't want to you don't want to learn and do nails because they'll like tie you down to it, and then you can't explore and become your own individuality and see what you like. So that's why I think a lot of kids, especially a lot of my generation and younger, they don't want to do nails. They want to steer away from it, steer away from the norm. Every single day there's always a new story. Clients are very wise, especially the mature elderly clients. They're very wise. They always give us life lessons. It is a really interesting job to do because you hear different stories every day. You hear a lot of hardship as well, a lot of people that go through really tough times. And it's almost like therapy for them when they come in and they can explain and talk to us, and we can give us our advice. It's quite nice to hear, and you learn a lot.
It's the first time in 6 years that I've had no work booked in. I don't know what's going on, but there's a ton of new locums and we need to do one. Never used to be this many locums.
You get paid more being a locum.
Yeah, but you don't get sick pay or holiday pay, or
you kind of like
you don't get your benefits that you get. Yeah, it's self-employed.
I studied fashion design in college and uni. I don't see myself in the industry for too long. I think I've been in here for like 5 years now, and I'm a bit tired of it. I wanna progress in my fashion.
Doesn't pay my mortgage.
I don't like.
So I don't really know what I'm gonna do.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. OnlyFans.
I support you.
That's what my boyfriend said as well. He was like, well, make a ton of money.
I see myself starting my own label. I started one, but I'm just trying to get it promoted, and my label's called Not Suitable.
Some of my boyfriend knows they live abroad now with the bloody high life because they did OnlyFans, but they were like, it just depends how explicit you want to go, but the more explicit it is, the more money you make. And I was like, no, you're all right. No thanks. No, you're all right. It's not for me. Don't mind how boob pic, but nothing more than that. I used to send them for free on Tinder dates.
So initially, with the whole Vietnamese and a lot Oriental doing nails, it stemmed from the Vietnam War, when the Americans came over and they brought their wives, and the wives didn't have anything to do. So when the men's were at war or, you know, in the army training, the women's and the wives didn't have anything to do. So the Vietnamese ladies started doing beauty treatments on them and charging them, and then that's where it stemmed from. So a lot of Vietnamese, so basically it's in our blood.
And do you know what, right? Because to be fair, when I grew up, I never really knew about Vietnam War.
Really?
Even though it was like my background. I just knew like my mum and dad went through it. And they would just tell me stories about it, yeah. Yeah, my mum still went to work. Even though the war was going and bombs were going off.
Where did she work?
She worked in the cornfields. So she was exposed. So she used to just there, she used to stay like, she wake up from the bunkers from down, and then she had to go to work in the morning, because normally they set bombs off over at night, didn't they? So you're kind of safe in the morning, and she said you used to walk over like dead bodies all the time.
What? End of the world?
It will be soon.
Yeah, but we said that when we're younger.
Climate change is real, guys.
It might be like World War III.
Yeah, and we might be going war.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
I'm doing nails.
They're saying you should get rations just in case. Yeah, but then they say you should have cash then. Because if you're digital and you're tapping, where's your actual money?
So this is why they're getting rid of cash now.
Yeah.
So that we all end up having, we've got no money left, so we all have to go to war.
Yeah,
that's the grand plan, is it? Stop taking cash. As long as we can always get our nails done.
Yeah, I'll trade you for like 2 tins of beans.
Well, my theory is anybody that's such an egomaniac that they want to press a big red button wants to go down in a history book, and if they destroy the world, there's no history book for them to go down in. So I think egos will save us all in the end.
So I've been at the Hive since August 2021. It started about July when it opened originally. I think Knit and Natter started about September, October. I didn't know Julie and Lynn. I've just met them through the Knit and Natter.
They're always cooking nice meals, aren't they, for everybody, and cakes and yummy.
Yeah. Well, it was put to us, I think, it was Chantal when I started, the manager, and she just said she'd like to do this Knit and Natter. Well, I knit, and my friend Jane came with me at the time, so she nattered. We have knitted for like groups, for hospitals. We've done teddies and hearts, and then we've done for the elderly, we did hats, scarves and gloves at Christmas and things like that.
Well, where I live, it's like I'm close to the East Lights, I'm close to the shopping centre, what's left of it. I'm close to the schools. The Hive is only 5 minutes up the road, so it's really handy where I live. I've always been here. Yeah, I love it. 30 odd years been here. 2020, my husband said, let's move, but I couldn't bear it. I said, no, I don't want all the messing about, so we had an extension and stayed here.
I was actually born in Holland. My dad was in the army and they were posted to Holland, and I was born while they lived in Holland, and so was my brother. And then we lived there for a few years, and then we moved from there to Tripoli, and we lived in Tripoli for 5 years. So I actually came to live in Swinton when I was about 10 and a half, 11. We came from Tripoli and it was winter, and we lived in a TA unit house, and it snowed so thick and cold, and I hated it.
I'd move tomorrow. Not because I don't like Swinton. I do. I've been born and bred in Swinton. But I would like to move. But I'd like to move to Wales. But my husband won't move.
I'd like more shops in Swinton. I'd like the precinct to be picked up and given a good shake, and I like more shops on the precinct, and I'd like to be able to get a doctor's appointment.
Yeah. Would you think you'd be volunteering? Would you think you'd be doing this? You wouldn't really know. I don't think it had have entered my head when I was younger.
I think I've always been a people's person, or I wanted to be a nurse and couldn't, but ran a pub, did caring, homeless shelter, and now I'm at Knitting Natter.
I always felt that I would like to do a lot more than I have done, but I never knew exactly what I wanted to do. Like you say about the children not knowing what they want to do. Every job I've had, I've said, I'm still looking for that job. I think I were happiest when the kids were little and I was minding them and child minding, and I used to go loads of places with them when they were little, and I was my own boss.
The reason originally going to the Hive, my brother died suddenly in the December, and so it was the following August, so it was a big step to go, but that big step is now nothing.
It's good, because I do suffer a lot with depression. It gets me out of bed on a Tuesday and I look forward to it, and it is important, I think, to get out of your own environment and to meet other people and talking to other people. You think sometimes you're the only one, but when you start talking to people, you're not the only one. There's other people suffering as well. I like to have structure, so I know that every Tuesday that's what I do. I don't like something coming in my way and going, Lynn, will you do this tomorrow, or...
I don't like waking up in the morning and not knowing what I'm doing.
Yes, exactly.
Looking back now, I know they say routine is good. It's been good for me, but I think later in life it probably affects you. If things change and I'm not expecting it, it's like the sudden loss of my brother. That's what did it. So I think that's where a routine does damage in a way.
I've gone through a lot in my life, so I do, and it makes you that much stronger each time. But now it's like you build that wall, but I think that wall's it's dropped quite a lot, that wall.
I wouldn't think it, but I don't really have a lot of confidence. And in there, I just feel you don't need any. Yeah. I think people probably see me as I don't see me.
I think because my gran brought me up, so I've had to survive. And I've always been a strong, hard person. I was one that fight the battles.
The veterans come in every other Tuesday. Didn't know any of them, but because I'm there every time they're in, got to know them. They're a nice group of chaps. So that's changed. I serve them. They enjoy their meals and coming in, so it's nice for us.
When I was 18, I got my call-up papers. I joined the Royal Air Force, much to my father's disgust.
I was called up in 1958-59, went did my 10 weeks basic, then they shipped us off of Hong Kong.
So I was born in a place called Ballytracy in County Wexford, and very, very rural, and I joined the army then. It was about 1959.
Now we knew the war was over because we were headquarters. That was my first introduction to peacetime. But I had nowhere to go. My family had vanished in front of my face. So I decided there and then I'd go on the Salon again.
And I went into the squadron office one day, and my troop sergeant was there, and he said, "Daly?" he said. I said, "Yes, Sarge." "You're a jammy," I I said, well, what have we done? He said, you're going to Singapore? So I thought, yahoo, you know. 2.5 years in Singapore in the 60s. People didn't go on holiday there then.
I got posted to Africa, West Africa, eventually. That was a real life. And I grew very fond of one particular chap called Corporal Kenneth Kazakpo. And we became, the whole thing, we became blood brothers. I've still got the scar on my hand.
It was the first day in the army. The sergeant major got us all on the parade ground, and he went down each person in the rank and he said, what's your name? I said, Basson. He said, what did you do in Civvy Street, Basson? I said, I was a commercial artist. He went, put his face quite close to mine, and he said, well, Basson, remember this, he says, you can't kill the enemy with a paintbrush, only tittle them to death.
I do remember a few years ago, when I first started having proper treatment for depression, I spoke to a counsellor. It was coming out of the army, and I said, well, it was 40 years ago. But no, like we recognise now, your army days, it's with me still. It really is.
It's a big change coming back into Civvy Street and trying to go back to where you were before, because you were a changed person. I also had ambitions perhaps to become a missionary.
After 9 years of a fairly formal and structured life, coming into an office where people are shouting at each other and all the rest of it is definitely a bit strange.
Depression did actually set in, and I had to have some medication for probably nearly 12 months to get over it. I had to fight.
I've known since it has happened to ex-servicemen coming out now. When I go to the Hive, the old stories come back.
We're there to encourage each other. I mean, one of the group members the other day told us he'd lost his wife and she'd had a long illness. So you can give him words of comfort and, you know, touch his arm and things like that. And that's what we're there for, to help one another.
I'm sure some of the men the people we go to the Hive, have had a far different experience, and it will probably haunt you for the rest of your life, because war is not a normal part of anything. I don't believe that at all. If you put it bluntly, try to kill other people, or they're trying to kill you, it must be absolutely dreadful. It must be terrifying. So, God knows what traumas these people are living through.
Marion and these girls from the Hive came, and we had a smashing meal on the lawn, and we just sat and talked. Smashing, easy.
People who are healthy and have an ambition to help other people, they are the salt of the earth.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
We find over the years that there were people who used to come in, and it's a fact that they used to come in twice a week, and it was just to have a chat. They just loved the idea that there was someone here that they could come and talk to. And wonderful, wonderful. And that is part of the job, really. It is part of the job. So, yeah. We're not just a chip shop that just get people in and out. If this goes, I wouldn't like to think the regular punters, there's nowhere else quite like it, I don't think. I don't think there is. I don't know many places where people will go just for a natter, really. I don't.
Yeah, with you saying then there's not many places like it. There's a lady on the phone yesterday, and it's not been coming in that long. She's once or twice, you know, once a week or once a fortnight she's in. She's a character. And she said, I won't be in today. I said, right. I said, okay. I said, no problem. I said, we'll keep your seat warm for you next time. She said, I'm going to the hospital to have my leg drained. I was like, okay, all right, okay, thank you. Good luck. Yeah, and she said, and that was all she was phoning for, to let us know. But the amount of information some people will give us is quite, it's like, yeah, it's quite bizarre.
I used to want to give people the best fish and chips that they've ever tasted. And that's where I get all the pleasure, is hearing people. We do speak to people, and the feedback that we get from most people going out, we say, was everything all right, sir? Oh, madam. And they say, it was the nicest fish and chips I've had for 30 years, it's beautiful. It was the best job in the world, because I knew exactly what trade we were going to do on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I knew what we were going to do on Friday and then again on Saturday. And you could virtually guarantee what you were going to do each day. Not so much these days, you've no idea. You could be busy today, dead tomorrow, dead the day after, then busy again. It's just up and down. But see, there's no footfall now on the precinct. I was hearing the other day that there's more fish and chip shops closing now because of overheads, because of the cost of potatoes, the cost of fish. It's now not that cheap meal that people... every Friday tea time we used to be queued round the block. It's a traditional Friday tea, but not anymore. Do you remember some of the old ladies like Betty?
Betty, bloody hell, used to sit on the corner table up there, yeah.
She come in here for years, didn't she? She was brilliant.
And an infamous one, Harold. Remember Harold?
Of course I do.
Harold was an old guy.
A lovely guy.
Little guy, bald, sort of one eye.
He used to go the bookies, didn't he?
Yes, he was a keen gambler.
He was a keen gambler.
Little guy, only this big, always wore a suit. And
I felt so sorry for him one year. He was sat at the table.
Don't be disgusting now.
And his nose was running.
Oh my God, he's going to be.
His nose was running. So I had to wake him up. He fell asleep. And when he died, his brother, who looked just like him, he didn't live local, did he, his brother? I don't know where he lived. He came in and he said, I've just come in to thank you. I said, thank us? What are you on about? He said, you've always looked after my brother, he said, and when I spoke to him on the phone, he'd be telling me that he used to come in here and he used to love coming in here.
Kids coming in now, like school kids coming in saying, my gran used to work here and my mum used to work here, and chances are there's so many people that we know that has come and gone over the years. Yeah, I bet most people in Swinton will know someone that worked here in the Chippy. I'm sure they would.
So this brother-in-law, he said, can I just ask you something? I said, yeah, go on. He said, if it was all to turn tits up next week, the business, what would you do? said, we'd just start again. He went, honestly? I said, honestly, we'd just start again.
There's rumours around already that I've got a job as an engineer. Someone said with shop shutting, Ian's got a job as an engineer and Claire is teaching. What would I do? I'd have to do this. I didn't listen in school enough to do anything else, I don't think. So I wouldn't like to think. I wouldn't. What can I get for you?
See you now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've lived in Swinton from, you know, a baby really, so, you know, I mean, my friends are still here. I've got friends that, you know, I've known from 1 year old, you know.
Originally I'm from Yorkshire. I've always, up until I was at university age, I lived in Harrogate, and then I came to Salford University, discovered Swinton Palais, and now here I am, still at Swinton Palais.
Well, the upstairs had been a place called Champagne Charlie's, which was quite a while ago. Then it had been a gym, and then the downstairs had been the wishing well, and then I think it was Oliver's perhaps after the wishing well. That was another nightclub, and then I got it after Oliver's.
We're currently in the Grand Palais downstairs, which was originally the Plaza Picture House, and the building was built in 1912. I haven't been involved quite as long as Steve, but after he'd been running it for about 10 years, I turned up and joined in.
What I think it is, though, is there are people that have been coming a long time, a very long time, like Jeff and Eileen, you know, Gordon and Rita, Ruth. There was a lad who's just died not long ago called Malcolm, and his wife Janet, you know, so there's been people like that have been coming many, many years. I think Jeff and Eileen were one of the first 4 couples that I had, and they're still coming.
At the moment, we've arrived at 91 years age. Our age is 91. We've been married for 66 years. We first met when we were about 18, and we used to go to Urmston Baths dancing when they used to cover the water with a dance floor, and we used to dance there every Saturday night.
Good that you're giving people pleasure. You know, there's so many things in life that people are fed up with, and they've got so much to put up with, and they've got so many things that they can't change that they would like to.
So, Dancing with Dementia started as a result of Leslie and her husband Walter used to come and learn in one of Steve's classes quite a few years ago now. So they've always had a link with the Palais for quite some number of years.
Dancing with Dementia was created when my sister was diagnosed with vascular dementia, and we didn't have anywhere to go. It was all hospital and dental and x-ray appointments, and I'm thinking it should be more to life than this.
And the thing is, you see, we always talk about with dancing, that when you learn steps, you get them in your muscular memory. And this muscular memory, people don't lose. So people with dementia still have these steps in the mind, and they're still able to do the dances.
The Grand Palais on Station Road had just been refurbished at this point, so here we had this fabulous ballroom in the middle of Swinton, and it was just what we needed really, because we had this great ambience within the ballroom.
I started on the upstairs, which was the original Palais, and even that I had to put a new floor in. So the first job was sort the floor out.
It's a massive, massive building. It's a bit like the Forth Bridge.
Right, so the future of the place really is a bit uncertain because I'm getting on now, and you just think, how long will I be able to keep working on the place and keep it going? And that's a little bit of a worry, you know.
The dynamics of the group are constantly changing because people come along, early diagnosis, they're functioning well at a certain level, and we see the decline, and then suddenly they don't come anymore and they've gone into full-time care, and then they're no longer with us.
I've had quite a few friends recently that have died, and it just makes you think that now that I should really be having some life rather than just working all the time.
But I think Jean's diagnosis really shook me up, because you just never know when life's going to come and crack you around the head and you're not going to like it. So I thought, you've got to make things happen. So Dancing with Dementia enabled me to focus that grief and take it forward. As long as you make the best choices with what you have, then, you know, you've just got to, fingers crossed that you're not the one.
You know, what's going to happen in the future? Because if I stop doing the work on the place and we start employing people to do these jobs, then it'll outweigh the income that we're taking on the door. So it just doesn't make it viable. Plus, I'll be getting too old to keep doing the work.
It truly is amazing what goes on in that room and how much love there is in that room.
I don't know, I'd really have to think about this. If I think a responsibility, I'd like to keep it open. That's the way I feel about it, and this is what we've tried to do. I'd like to keep it open, but I've got to have a life.
Sometimes when you see people at the events, and it's more so the carers, you see their expression on their faces, and you know that expression from when you've looked in the mirror, and you know what they're feeling. So yeah, it can be pretty tough when you see these people. Dementia has no qualm about invading your body, whichever walk of life you're from.
Well, I think what catches anybody with dancing is you get out of this dull, dismal world that we're all in, and it's so depressing for everybody with all the nonsense that goes on. And dancing gives you a bit of razzmatazz, and it gives you a bit of excitement, and people get dressed up and they get out. You know, you actually, you feel like, I don't know, is the word important, or, you know, you're living a bit sort of up class from, you know, where you come from really, and you manage to, I don't know how to explain it really. It's just a different world, and it just gets you out of the normal humdrum life.